as you can see, Hanok is not in Modi'in, or unless something's major changed in Modi'in. How you doing? You're in,
I'm doing okay. I'm in Manhattan,
yeah?
Upper Manhattan, not far from my daughter. I'm in an Airbnb,
Okay.
so I'm not responsible for any other decor,
Okay.
not even genetically.
Yeah.
Got in yesterday. We had a delay at Ben Gurion, so instead of leaving late at night, we left just about 5 in the morning,
Well,
and I was beat. And it was one of those times where, as soon as the guy next to me sat down, I went to sleep. So I
oh,
was
well,
asleep before the plane took off.
well, that's cool.
So the flight attendant tried to wake me for breakfast. And I said, no, not doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, here I am,
Well,
Big Apple.
yeah. And then you got delayed a little bit. So I had something planned, but it's going to have to come out a little different than it was. We do have something to discuss before we go in. So you just have to watch your monitor there, Mr. Hanok.
Okay, I'm watching my monitor. Okay. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, cake. Thank you. More cake. I so appreciate that. Thank you.
We've endured all your birthday stuff. You got to endure the whole thing.
Yeah, I am. I'm not going anywhere. Man, these cakes are getting better and better looking.
All right, that's all you get.
That's great. Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Yeah. So that's for all those birthdays that you have gotten with everybody else. And this is which anniversary of your 50th anniversary or your 50th birthday is this?
It's it's to the second power
Okay,
at this
okay.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We're we've gone beyond square roots.
yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay.
That's for
Well,
sure.
yeah. Kathy's downstairs going, "What in the world was that noise?"
What noise?
Yeah, that noise of that on my phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't hear any noise.
Oh, you didn't?
No, there was no audio.
There was no audio. You couldn't hear the
No,
oh,
no.
that's terrible.
Sorry about that.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
eh, this is really complicated. I'm
so
trying.
nothing. Can't hear it here. Sorry about that.
That's amazing.
So,
I guess I have a very good noise canceling microphone.
I'm sorry, you froze
I,
up.
I've got a very good noise canceling microphone.
Evidently,
It
it
canceled
really
all that
did
out.
great. It did
Wow.
great.
Okay, well, when I see you, I'll play it again.
Sounds fair enough, Mike.
All right.
Thank
Hey,
you.
what's going on in the land, man?
Okay, well, it's
Besides
interesting.
protesters.
Yeah, the protesters against judicial reform have really been notching it up. Protests are getting, they're bordering on violence.
Wow.
They're not already there. And yesterday, now remember, yesterday is the day after I left.
Yeah.
They not only shut down approaches to and from Ben Gurion Airport, they blocked the roads leaving Modi'in. I mean, of
Mhm.
all places, among other places. So I would have had no, well, actually, I could have gone via train, but moving 3 suitcases up and down hills in Modi'in to get to a train is not good. Now, again, the whole irony of this whole thing is Biden, of all people, is spewing this rhetoric that Israel's democracy is on the verge of turning into a dictatorship, which makes about as much sense as when he was talking recently about Vladimir Putin losing the war in Iraq.
Hmm.
I mean, it's totally. And Tom Nides, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, is talking about that the American government is working with the Israeli government to prevent us from going off the rails. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, meanwhile, of course, America is fiddling while Iran is busy, with ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
So, it's just crazy. It's crazy. So again, I speak very little about this judicial
Yeah.
reform. As I
Yeah.
said before, we need a judicial reform. However, no one trusts Netanyahu. It's a bad combination. But again, the elected government of Israel is voting for this with a majority. So how do you go and do massive civil disobedience to the degree where you have reservists in the Air Force and in the computer tech stuff that are saying we're not going to serve? And that's unprecedented. That has never happened before. So I'm hoping that, that will pass. Meanwhile, of course, while we did not record, the IDF had a brief operation in Jenin,
Hmm.
which was a very limited success. See, the problem is Israel is not going to put boots on the ground permanently in Jenin. We're not going to
Yeah.
do that.
No.
So that's limiting. Number two, the Palestinian Authority is supposed to, under the Oslo Accords, be responsible for security.
Yeah.
They're not, and they're losing out. So we're caught between a rock and a hard place. It's one of the things I'm thinking of discussing over the 12 presentations that I'll be doing over the next 6 weeks. I'm sure it's something that will come up. It wasn't something I originally planned to speak about, but issues relating to the Palestinian Authority, the Oslo Accords, where Israel is and what it means, because I keep encountering people who were very far from being involved with any real mainstream group of any type, not in the Messianic world, not in the Hebrew roots world, certainly not Jewish, who'll say, like, Israel needs to go and take that over. Well, thank you so much. We're not going to go and put 1 million Arabs who self-identify as Palestinians under Israeli governmental rule. We're not going to do that. Now, did we do the right thing with the Oslo Accords? Obviously not.
Yeah.
Obviously not. But it's kind of where the rubber meets the road, and in this case, it's a sense of where we missed our opportunities.
Well, I got a question. Let's put a scenario out here. Let's just say that the previous president of the United States had offered to sell carpet bombs to Israel. How would that have gone over? I
Well,
mean,
it's interesting. You mean to actually carpet bomb Jenin? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
if
you
one
look at the
Arab,
dichotomy here in the world of what is accepted in one place would be absolutely
listen, one
crazy.
Arab, one Arab in Israel, if they stub
Yeah,
their toe and have an ingrown toenail or a hangnail,
yeah,
this is this cause for the you've got the UN talking, or you had the BBC reporter even the other day saying to Naftali Bennett, our former prime minister, Israel is happy with killing, Palestinian children. And there
I
were
mean,
no children that were killed, but that's not the point even.
yeah,
The fact that a newscaster, it is acceptable. It is acceptable in the world, wherever you are, to hate Jews.
hmm,
You put it under the guise of, well, I'm an anti-Zionist. But even the definition of Zionism I'm telling you, it's interesting. About 2 months ago, when really began focusing in on what this series of presentations was going to be about, I said, you know what? We use terms all the time that people really don't understand.
True.
We talk about, or the terms two-state solution,
Hmm.
1967 borders.
Yeah.
These are concepts that are in actuality so far from what people think they mean.
Well, people even look at the term green line. Okay, well, that
Yeah,
must be something having to do with the forest. Uh, you know, and it was literally because the guy had a green magic marker,
a green magic marker on
Yeah,
on the armistice lines.
yeah,
And part of the problem was because the marker was thick.
yeah.
There's a dispute to this day of, exactly where is that line supposed to be? Is
I
it
mean,
on the Jordanian side, Syrian side? What does it mean? Yeah,
can you imagine if the guy had pulled out a hot pink marker? You'd have the hot pink line. That's how absurd this is.
it's really kind of frightening.
And
Uh,
you're right, Hanok. The most people, and I don't blame people. It's just, we got a lot of things going on in life. Everybody does, and so you hear something, you just kind of take it. If you
no,
haven't lived it,
absolutely.
if it's not your focus in life, which I don't understand why Israel's not a focus, but yeah, it's another subject. People just kind of accept these things. And so it's
Absolutely.
all the
And
terms. So I think this is a
yeah,
wonderful thing you're doing in bringing back, okay, this is how this happened.
now you just mentioned something in terms of, the Israel focus. Our pal Jessica Elam put up a post the other day on Facebook,
Oh yeah.
and it's about, all like, it's kind of like encapsulated a briefer version of how all of a sudden she got caught up in this.
Yeah.
And the comments that people wrote really were incredibly enlightening, of kind of like,
Hmm.
well, gee, I've never thought of going to Israel. you know
Yeah, because it's basically not taught. It's not a focus. Let's face it, Hanok, whether we're talking about Christianity, whether we're talking about a lot of Messianic Judaism, whether we're talking about Reform Judaism, okay, it's just not a focus here for most people. We tend to be the purple striped cat in the room, where Israel is our focus, period.
well,
That's just it.
for anyone who claims to be a Torah keeper, a follower of the Torah, if Israel isn't at the center of your focus, along with the Jewish people,
Yeah.
I have no clue what kind of Torah you think you're studying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so
Yeah.
obvious.
I don't either.
Anyway,
I mean,
anyway,
that's just the way that I think, you think, and I guess that's why we hang out together, because we both have this weird thought processes of life.
okay, let's go back to the positive stuff.
Okay.
You were recently at Revive.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit with us what that was like for you? I don't mean in general, but for you and your focus, Mike.
You know, my what I do, Hanok, is I guess could best be termed as a diamond. I guess that would make me hard headed or something, but facets. So there is a facet of my life that is the main facet. Okay, and that for me is the person of Yeshua. Okay, um, and you understand that, and it's something we talk about. But within, outside of that, all of these other facets of that diamond include Israel, the teaching of the Torah, the teaching of the rest of Scripture, all of those things. And then there's this side called the young adults, not the youth so much, as I hang out with some of them, but this group of young adults, 19 years old, or up into their 30s. And I had the amazing honor of spending 6.5 hours with them at Revive. And Hanok, you know, as you've traveled around, um, probably going back to the days of the attitudes of Mir Kahana, who I would imagine there was days of his life it was like, is anybody getting it? You
More than
know,
a few, more than a,
yeah, this I have a greater hope today for the future.
fabulous.
I don't have hope for America. Okay. I don't have hope for the Israeli government, okay, because I've seen that for a long time. But I have hope for the future because of what I saw at Revive with these young people.
Wow.
It was I have the broadcasts from last week of Foundations for Life, this week with Life on Purpose, where myself, Daniel, Ryan, and David actually went through some of the things. Uh, I guess it would be you know that one of the most difficult things for me is coming back from Israel and explaining Israel. On the top, the same level, Hanok, is would be describing last 2 weeks ago at Revive. I could liken it to if you'd walked in the camp of Israel the day after the Shekinah entered the tabernacle and
Wow.
asked someone, explain how that happened. They would not have known. There was no way to describe that. And
Wonderful.
what I saw was young people uh, being set free of things. What I saw was young people excited. I had 150 to 170 young adults in the room with us, with the
Wow.
team. No, hardly anyone ever even checked their phone. Nobody was on the phone, but very seldom would somebody would kind of look at their phone for a minute and put it away.
That's near miraculous in
Oh
and of
yeah,
itself. That
nobody was talking. No, nobody was talking. I didn't have to walk in and go, okay, guys, everybody get a seat. Let's, be quiet, behave. No, we started and they were engaged, Hanok. And one of the young adults who you will meet up in Gloucester is wanting to put together an Israel trip. Yeah, because yeah, I did kind of it. I'm embarrassed to tell you that it took me to the last session to talk about Israel, but we definitely got it in there.
no doubt, no doubt at all.
Yeah,
It's we're living in a world where we have the illusion of time. We have the illusion of tomorrow. And I'm not getting all pensive because, my body completed another year, today. Although I have to tell you, it was kind of funny, like going into TD Bank and writing July 12th. And then, of course, I put the year of my birth because that's the only, anyway. So it was a little unusual,
mm,
but I lately have come across more than a few people that I have known, and in most cases really, really liked, several years younger than I am, who have passed away.
yeah,
And, and willing to stand up and make the most out of our today.
yeah,
And that's really the challenge. And that's, of course, where Israel fits in. And that's, of course, where supporting a local congregation fits in. And that's with every other element. What are you going to do today? Because it's still, still time in the day. What are you going to do today that's going to make this day
yeah.
special, better, or more in line with what you have in your heart than yesterday was?
You mentioned Jessica. And I was reading over her story on Facebook again a couple days ago when she posted that. And she was, of course, we've talked about this, she was encouraged by Sarah Connor regarding Sarah started baking challah bread. And Jessica told the story about that she announced she was baking challah bread. I mean, it's one thing to bake challah bread in Franklin, North Carolina, quite another in Winchester, Kentucky. That's even further out, I think. But somebody walked in and said they wanted to order $1,000. It's like it paid cash. We want
You know,
to order this for it's that's so remarkable to me.
it
Um,
it
and
is.
where's that story going to go?
Well, and let me just, kind of lay the ground, not the ground rules, excuse me, give you the background story on that. This comes from my visit last summer
Hmm.
to Winchester. The week before, I had been to a congregation that I go to regularly, Beit Tehillah in Brandon, Florida. And I asked how many, there were about 85 people in the crowd when I spoke. And I asked how many have been to Israel at least once. And it was close to 80% of the people that raised their hands,
Wow.
which is remarkable. I mean, that just puts them, in a strong number two behind Life Assembly. Okay, a few more people, but 85 people. The very next Shabbat, I'm in Beit Menorah, Winchester, Kentucky, congregation, the very first congregation I went to in August 2013, out of all these trips. And I asked how many people, there were also about 85 people in the audience. How many people? And I even included, because I knew there was one other person, there was only 2 out of 85 that had ever been to Israel.
Yeah.
2. So that's when Jessica said, I'm in this.
Yeah. And
And
she's got other people going with her.
yeah, it's now a team of 5
Yeah.
from Beit Menorah,
Yeah.
which I think is likely to change the dynamics of that congregation for years to come.
Yeah, and the other aspect of this whole thing is that I saw Sarah yesterday, and she had just had her interview with Hayavel, and is going back for her second once in a lifetime opportunity. So I'm thinking that I've got this is November will be 33 trips for me. I might want to up my game here because I think I might have some
Gonna catch
competition
up?
from Sarah Connor.
I love it. I love it, Mike. That's great. Could you imagine if 2, 3, 5, 10 other congregations of people we know started this kind of internal competition of who do we have that's going to Israel this year?
Yeah.
Who's going to go and volunteer next year?
Yeah.
That's the kind of competition and people going head to head that I would love to see.
And I mention it like this, Hanok, as you've heard me say in the past, is not just that you need to see Israel, but Israel needs to see you.
Absolutely.
And to go there and to allow Jessica and others to tell their story, to to the different people that I know. I cannot wait to go to Shekalim and see Uri and say, "Hey, Uri, I want you to hear the story of how this lady got here. Udi, I want you to hear the story of how this lady got here."
Absolutely.
That in itself is the blessing. It's not
Yeah.
just that you're going to see Israel, but Israel in the midst of all the stuff that you guys go through there. And I saw this during the Intifada, people coming and sharing their story about their love. I mean, Israelis that would look at me and go, "Why? Why do you love us? Why do you explain to me what?" And it's
You love Israel despite some of them.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I do too. I
it,
do
it,
too.
it's not because you're so lovable sometimes.
That is so true. Okay,
I mean,
a
just
quick
saying.
point of information I was going to mention before, totally missed. Our high-tech sector is suffering tremendously.
Mm,
There's been a tremendous drop-off in funding, which
Wow.
comes from foreign sources for it. And we are a high-tech driven economy.
Yeah.
So there are concerns, and we'll see where it goes. People keep saying to me, wow, I can't believe you came to America. It's the summer in Israel, peak tourist season. It's not peak tourist season. I keep telling you, May 2019, it came up on Facebook Memories the other day, 114 degrees
Mhm,
in Ein Gedi and Masada.
mhm.
It is very, very much so unpleasant. You know, when
Yeah.
people say, well, why is it that you guys do your Connect tour in the fall? It's like, duh, hello.
Because
Yeah,
it's cooler then.
yeah. Weather should be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Weather should be great.
you go to Engedi when it's, over 100 degrees, it's like, "Nah, that was
Get
stupid."
me out of here. Get me
Yeah,
out of here.
get me out of here. Well, hello, enjoy, time with,
Thank
a
you.
little person that,
Yeah.
you're getting to know there. Be safe on the subways, okay? This is not Israel.
Yeah, I know. I
Just
noticed. Believe me.
just remember, it's not Israel. It's not safe where you're at.
No, very much so.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll take care. Take
Enjoy.
care,
Talk to
Mike.
you later.
Have a good one.
You
Bye-bye.
got it.